What up, gamers? I'm Jason.
I'm Julie.
And today on Dice & Dragons, we are going to be reviewing the latest expansion for Disney's Sorcerer's Arena Epic Alliances. This is the Leading the Charge expansion, published by the Op Games and designed once again by Scott Fletcher. Now, this will be adding 3 new characters to the game. You're going to be getting a great villain in the form of Scar, some people's absolute favorite in the form of Elsa, and our little man's favorite, Buzz Lightyear to the rescue. So on that note, I'm going to toss it over to Julie, who will tell you more about the game itself.
Well, first, we'd like to thank the Op for this review copy. Thank you for your support of our channel, but we'd like to remind our viewers that our opinions, because we rarely just have one, will remain our own. So this is a competitive game that is for 2 or 4 players for ages 13 and above and plays in about 60 minutes.
Now, I will say this, when it comes to the ages, I do think it can go a little younger than 13, but the complexity of the game is increasing, so depending on the characters, 13 and above might be the right age. So what we'll be doing in the game, well, you've got a deck of cards. You're going to be drawing a hand that will pertain to different characters. Your hand size is determined by the characters that you're playing. You'll be able to play different cards for your movement and attack phase. You also have different skills you can activate. The goal is to control these points, also defeat the other team members because you need to get those victory points. The first player to 20 will be the one that will win the game. When you hit 20, that will start the end game round, and the player that has the most victory points at the end of that round, so it could be at the start, at the middle, when it just depends where you're at the initiative track. So, let's say it's Jack Skellington here that gets the victory points. Well, you've got Scar and the Horn King left to activate. Player at the end of that round will be the winner. Did I miss anything at all, Julie?
Nope.
And then we're now going to grab our drink, grab our fellow Sumner, and take it to the table one more time. Now we're going to take a quick look at the components for Disney Sorcerer's Arena Leading the Charge. You get a little bit of an explanation as to what you're getting in the set and the new abilities. You've got the new rules listed here, as well as then a list of the components. So a nice, concise rule sheet, and I do love the fact we got some credits here, so we know who we can thank for giving us this expansion. Now, we're going to get 3 new characters for the game. You get Elsa, Scar, and Buzz Lightyear. Now, all characters can be upgraded. Elsa has some fairly cool abilities where she can become invulnerable, essentially immune to damage. She can also immobilize people when she powers up. Buzz will be able to do a lot more damage with his unshakable determination. And then Scar has some nasty abilities where at the beginning of each of your ending phase, you may discard some cards from your hand to deal 2 damage to anyone in a victory point space, because you're the only one that can be king. So everything is very thematic. We'll take a look at the tokens first before the cards. So the new ability, we've got Invulnerable, a couple more Immobilized tokens, and then we get 3 of these. Now they are double-sided, as you can see here, of just blank tokens. So I think that they're there to replace anything that gets lost, if you happen to lose anything, or even make some custom abilities if you'd like. We've got, of course, the dual-sided initiative tokens for the characters in red and blue. You can see their health, as well as the victory points. Now we do have, once again, the fantastic acrylic standees. It's one of my favorite parts of the game. I love how the bases are also themed, so it makes it very easy to find them. So we took a look at Elsa. Here we've got Buzz Lightyear. I'm trying to bring it up there so you can see the details, but it's kind of hard to get it to come through on the camera there. And then we have, of course, Scar. I'll grab the base here. Very good looking standee. Now here we've got the cards for the game. So you got some stuff for Buzz, of course, attack cards. Deal 1 damage to each adjacent rival, and then move them back. So lots of damage and movement abilities when it comes to Buzz. He's very good at also moving up to 3 spaces. Buzz may pass through rivals using his jetpack. So everything is very much themed there on the character. We've got Elsa with some very nasty abilities where she can deal 2 damage to one adjacent rival, move them back, then deal another damage. She's got a lot of range attacks, magic attacks, let her move up to 4 spaces. Ice magic, where she can immobilize people, which can be very damaging to some people's plans. You've got Scar, who's got a lot of cool movement abilities. She'll just move up to 3 spaces, and you may move an ally if they're a villain as well. Life's Not Fair. And then one of my favorites I want to take a look at is his Vicious Slash, which can be either a movement or an attack phase cards, meaning you can execute at the same time. So you can hit someone for 3 and then hit them again. allowing him to do a lot of damage. So just wanted to give you an overview as to what you get for the components. We don't want to spend too much time on this stuff and go into too much detail there. So you got a nice taste for it. Now keep it right here as Julie and I will be coming back at you with a review of this expansion. So Julie, what did you think of the... Sorry. 3, 2, 1. So Julie, what did you think of leading the charge? Actually, you know what? During my review of Thrills and Chills, since I reviewed that one solo, I did say once we get this game back to the table, Julie would give some quick thoughts on the previous expansion. So just gonna catch her up to where I am in terms of playing the game. So you got the Trial, Mother Gothel, Jack Skellington, and the Horn King. Did you like them? Give us a quick overview. We don't want to take away too much from what we're really diving into.
Yeah, I wasn't as lucky with Mother Gothel as you were. You really got all the good cards that came up top, and you just... I was not having a good time when I was playing against you because
She's one of my favorites.
I had the opposite happen with me. All my good cards came in at the end. I managed to squeak out a win against you.
In that first game.
I really didn't think it was going to be possible, but this time it just didn't happen for me. And well, you just ganged up on her, knowing how strong she could be. So you never let me really get anywhere with her. Really, the Horn King is fun too. You have to rely on cards and the
gaining victory points.
The Black Cauldrons, because the Black Cauldron are great as long as they're there.
Yes, I think that's the best way to put them.
And I didn't get the cards for a while to be able to get them out. You can't just put them out whenever you want, so that was kind of annoying. So all that to say, and Jack Skellington's just Jack Skellington. I didn't find him all that much fun.
No, but his Afraid ability is fairly strong.
Yeah, that being said, I had a lot of fun with Elsa.
Okay, so we're moving on. So comments on Thrills and Chills. Should somebody pick it up or not? What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, Mother Gothel's fun.
Yeah, she's a great character. I think the Horn King makes it well worth it. All right, now just to be clear, Julie's caught up. The expansion that this video is about, leading the charge. So you were saying Elsa. So Elsa's cards for me didn't come out right away, so I felt like I didn't really feel like she was that strong. I was doing more with Buzz, and then her cards started coming out, her good cards. I think she might be overpowered just a little bit.
Again, it depends on your cards. It's same thing with Mother Gothel, really. Like, honestly, when you get the right cards at the right order, you can come out really strong and you can do a lot of damage.
It's not just that, though. I'd also say that with Elsa, her special ability is key. And this is when I think the game is finally developing to where initiative order can be incredibly important to the game. The fact that Elsa, when she flips over to her upgraded form, can do a mobilize too. Now, looking back, I really should have had her be at the front of the pack, because that would mean, you immobilize someone at the start of the turn and it's immobilized too. So they're not going anywhere for a little while, and that gives you some great control features. And mentioning the fact that you won that first game, it was you controlling Mother Gothel and basically locking her out of being able to do anything for 2 turns and let you get the win. Otherwise, she would have acted and that would have been game over for me. Yeah,
and Buzz has a lot of great abilities too, more so in his cards than what you see on his skills. They're both a lot of fun, and I didn't play Scar very well. I didn't understand some of his skills and some of the things he could do. And then when Jason played him, I'm like, whoa, how are you doing that? And he read it, and his interpretation was very different from mine. And I can see why he interpreted it that way. So yeah, Scar can be really, really darn annoying with the ability to just basically, jump on a spawn point.
Oh yeah, and these two together would really be something. I'm really liking the way the game is developing. You're starting to, if you're going to play the game a lot, seeing a lot of really cool combos in terms of the content that you have. And I know that Julie and I aren't typically big on skirmish games. This still hits that nice sweet spot despite some of the complexities. It really takes an hour. The games for us are very balanced, and despite, the skill level, I play more skirmish games, but she's very good at catching up. She often starts out behind, and then she, like, I'm going to do that to you, and I didn't take that into account, and next thing you know, she's won the game.
He starts, taking me for granted, and then realizes, honestly, that is a point I was going to make. I'm not really a skirmish player. We hadn't gotten this to the table for a little while.
Yeah, and that's why I did the other review solo instead of us doing it together.
So honestly, it took me a little while to get back into it. It's not just a game that you can, I would say that you could just put down and really play without remembering. I'm going to say there are some subtleties to it that mean that you have to really play it properly and to its full potential, because otherwise, when I was playing against you without remembering all the subtleties, I was really getting my backside handed to me.
I would say that, and just a little bit of interjection, I'll agree with Julie, especially when it comes to certain characters. However, if you do go with more characters from the base box, you're not going to have cards like Scar's Vicious Slash that can be movement and attack, movement or. And if you do really, you're out of the game, you want to jump back into it, you could probably pick up the box, the base game characters, and you're going to be able to get used to the flow very easily. What we're playing now is really started pushing the mechanics ahead, and these are a lot more fun characters than what's in the base game. That being said, I'm wondering how fun it would be to play some of those base characters compared to what we currently have in our set. I think that's one of the biggest potential issues. And I'm sure at one point we'll get an opportunity to look back. I don't know if I really want to go play some of those characters we started out with. I like these two last expansions are really fun, and I think the game is really coming into its own. I like the Turning the Tide as well, but these 6 characters are my favorite.
Yeah, I did enjoy Moana as well a lot. She in Turning the Tides. I agree with you. I just, like I said, I think for me, the first time we got this back to the table, as we were playing it, I wasn't remembering all of the, like I said, the subtleties to it, but just the way you could, combo things together and really making sure that you use your skills, that you use your I'd forgotten that you could do your action before your movement, things like that. So somebody could argue, and before we get, a mean comment, because, it does happen, somebody could say, well, just read the instructions, just read the rule book. Yeah, I could. And Jason says that to me sometimes. And when I was getting really frustrated because I'm very competitive, he said, well, just read the rule book. And yes, you could do that. But for those who are lucky like me, who don't have to read rule books,
because I read all the rule books,
because he explains them all to me, you might have to get a game under your belt. And if you're competitive like me, and I really felt like I think I had 2 victory points, and Jason had 12, and I'm like, well, okay, I might as well forfeit the game because you've won. And in the end, I ended up winning.
Yeah, you played well. You used Elsa's abilities and really just stopped me in my tracks because I could not get that last kill.
So there's an element of frustration that I did have at the beginning of this, but once I got back into the swing of how the game works, how the mechanic works, how the different characters can be played, I had more fun.
I think you said a lot of what I wanted to say. Elsa, I think, is an incredibly strong character. Her abilities are great, especially the fact that she can get invulnerable by discarding cards. I really like Scar. I think Scar has a lot of sneaky, devious potential. I really think pairing him on a team with Mother Gothel, as he can potentially move villains, and that can actually go around certain things like Immobilize, because those things affect your movement phase, which would have been a big advantage to be able to, I can just move this character a little bit, get them in position. So there's lots of really cool things that you can do there. Like Julie said, him being able to take victory points. Now, that's very good, especially if you pair him with the Horned King as well, who needs to gain victory points in order to bring out his Black Cauldrons if he doesn't get the cards. So there's lots of really neat combos and intricacies that are coming out. And you do like the fact that the right pairing of cards, Scar can potentially do 6 damage on a turn, which is something you weren't prepared for. You were kind of sitting there did you just do a ton of damage? I go, yep, because I got this card, and it's movement. I'm dealing damage during movement. Oh, I'm dealing damage during the attack phase as well. Now, it could be that we're misinterpreting that, but that's the way it's printed on the cards, and if we are misinterpreting it, then there needs to be some changes done to the iconography to make that more clear. But lots of fun. I really enjoyed Buzz as well. He's very versatile, using his laser blaster to really control the battlefield. He also makes very short work of the cauldrons, and that is something that is very annoying. He's a great counter to the Horn King. So if you're building your teams and you see someone grabbing the Horn King, you may want to grab Buzz because he will definitely keep them in check fairly easily. And that's all I really got to say. I don't have much more to add. I think the game is continually getting better and better. There's more intricacies and subtleties coming out, and I'm eager to see where this goes. I don't think we're going to have any expansions. Well, I don't think expansions can be stopping for this anytime soon.
So why don't you give it its score?
So I'm going to give this a 7.5. I think this is a very good expansion. There's a couple of things that I don't necessarily like in terms of the balance based on comparing these characters to the base game, which is why I'm digging it a little bit. But I do think that this is probably the best expansion yet. And if you're a fan of Sorcerer's Arena, you really need to pick this up.
So I'm going to give it a 7, and I'm going to say I have no idea what I gave the base game. It is very possible that I gave the base game
No, I think you gave the base game a 7.
But I'm going to defend myself.
Or a 6.5 going up to a 7.
If I did give it a higher score, what I will say is, part of ranking a game with me is also how I'm enjoying the time playing it. And, this was fun. I had fun, but I did mention I had some frustrations bringing it back to the table after a while. And that, at this point, right now, does have an impact for me because I like to be able to take a game out off the shelf and say, hey, okay, this is about an hour. Let's put it on the table and be able to just play it without, really having to remember a lot of different mechanics. And this is not the most complex, but this expansion, as we pointed out, does have some of those. So still lots of fun.
And Frozen Chills as well. Both of them do.
So, still lots of fun. I still enjoyed it. It's still a great score, but it's not quite as high as Jason. Also, potentially because I don't absolutely love skirmish games. It depends. I love them when I'm beating Jason handily and when I feel like I've got the game under control. I don't love them so much when Jason's knocking out all my characters and making me start over again. So, on that note, gonna remind everybody to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell to be notified when we have some new content for you, and comments.
Yes, please comment down below. So take a look down below in the video description. You'll find links to our social media feeds, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. If you'd like to see some pictures of Julie and I playing Disney's Sorcerer's Arena Epic Alliances, there are plenty on those feeds. Also down there is a link to multizone.ca, a great Canadian game store. Click the link. You get 10% off your next purchase, and it's a great way to support the channel. So a portion of that purchase will be returned to us. They also do Kickstarters, lots of stuff from the op. Make sure that you check them out. And then popping up in front of us are going to be links to some of our previously released videos. In front of me will be a most recent release. In front of Julie is going to take you back to our original review on how to play of Disney's Sorcerer's Arena Epic Alliances. Now we are going to grab our drink, grab our best friend and fellow summoner.
My drink is bigger than yours.
Yes. Remind you to keep playing games.